Hi, this is Jackie Anderson. I'm a missionary in Ethiopia, but right now I'm visiting a friend. Her name is Jodie. She's been a friend for a long time, and she has an amazing ministry. Jodie, what's the name of your ministry?
We call it Midlife Moms.
Okay, and what is that?
Well, we were midlife moms when it began, and we were empty nesters, and we found that so many people were grieving their children going off to school or finishing with school, going off to college, and they realized they had really built their life around their children and their significance rather than the Lord or their husbands.
So they were finding themselves in some troubled times.
Yes, they really were, I think, discouraged, maybe feeling like, oh, is this the end for our happiness, or am I really significant now? Yeah.
So how did it start then?
So one of the moms who really was struggling decided, maybe there are some other women out there that are feeling the same. And we thought, and she shared it with me and another gal, and we thought, well, let's find out. Let's see if there are women who would want to get together and be encouraged in the Word and just help each other out that way. And that's how it started.
So how many years now have you been meeting?
Over 15 years.
Wow, that's great. But
Yeah.
Different women, I assume, at different times?
Yes, women hear about it. They'll come into our group. We have 2 main sessions a year with a large Bible study and then a book study over the summer.
Okay, and so what makes your group different than just another woman's Bible study?
I think it's because we all had a similar need, which was being met by getting together and getting in God's Word. And it just encouraged us all so much, and we saw differences in our homes with our husband.
Nice.
Nice. I
Nice.
think one of the main things that we all experienced were a change in our own attitude. We went from maybe feeling a little hopeless to having hope and knowing that that might be the end of that chapter, but God is opening a new one, and we wanted to walk in it with God and see what He had for each one of us.
Oh, that's wonderful. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So explain to us what a meeting would be like. What do you do?
Well, we average, I would say, about 22 people a time, and we meet every other week in my home. We come and honestly, we just are filled with joy to get together. It's so fun, and we have a treat. We have a treat schedule, so people do bring a little snack, and we have a visiting time. But then we get down to it right away. We don't stay there. We go and we start either a video if we're doing it with the Bible study, and then we have a time of discussion of what our homework was, and and then from there we would move into prayer, and we have a time of prayer. And then a lot of times, I'm kicking these women out because they just stay in fellowship after. So
I hear the word homework. Oh my. So how does that work, and do they do it?
They do their homework, but our policy is we want you here regardless. So even if you couldn't do it, come. If we have a video, you can always get something from that, and then you can glean from what the lesson was that others did. But most always, everybody that has come that didn't do their homework, including me sometimes, I regret it so much, because my experience that I went through that week would have fit with what I would have learned in God's Word and would have equipped me. And so you really are so thankful when you have been in God's Word, experiencing what He's teaching us, and then you have where God uses it, and so it's we're yeah.
I really think that's an important point to emphasize, that so many times women or men, but we don't want to do homework. We don't want to do the work. But what a benefit it is if God is causing it to be relevant for your week and you get more, a lot more out of it. Yeah, that's great. So you come, you do all these things, and then you're sharing your lives.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What's that look like?
It is, it's a place where somebody can come into our group for the first time ever, and they are not used to being really having the focus on God's Word, I think.
Oh, okay.
And so I know a lot of the new people are just thrilled. They're like, it's hard to find where it's not just social, but we really bring God's Word as the main reason, and prayer. And so to have that support for each other, and it changes our lives. It changes people's lives. And
okay. So it sounds like you're also very vulnerable with each other. Is that true?
Yes. But you don't have to either. You share as much as you want or not, and the longer we're in it, we have gone through a lot of hard things as a group together. We've had, there have been, husbands have died, so we have widows. We've had children that have gotten divorced.
Oh, painful.
But instead of walking in it in bitterness and with no hope, we've gotten through, our group has gotten through very hard things, and really we just walk through it with the Lord, and we get through it, and we find hope on the other side.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's really good. If there was one story you wanted to tell us that you could share, what would that be?
Oh, there's so many. But one that was really recent, a friend who had been in the study for maybe 3 years, and she unexpectedly died early, and her husband at the funeral came up to the Midlife moms and said, "I have to tell you, my wife came home so full of joy after the study every time, and she just looked forward to it." And she said, I thank you so much for what it did for her life. So it's stories like that we, we're all just thrilled about.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jodie.
Yes. So I would say, if there's a season in your life that you're struggling with, you're not alone, I'm sure, and you could probably find some friends, and you guys could come together and do this exact same thing. And we've gone from midlife moms to grandmas. So we have lots of chapters in there. And in every one of those chapters, we've pulled women in that have been maybe struggling as grandmas now, and all that's involved, or different things. So just see it as an opportunity in your life that whatever God might be calling you to be calling Him for, or to lean on Him for, go with it. God's got a plan.